Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest from Feuerschwanz, Das Elfte Gebot Deluxe Edition, out June 26 on Napalm Records. The album has 18 tracks, 70 minutes in length, and this is the band's 9th full-length studio album. This deluxe edition comes with 2 discs, the main record with 11 songs, and then an all-covers album with 7 tracks. I'm going to be talking about both, so you get a full vision of what this deluxe edition has in store for you, but let's start off with the main record. And the main record is an incredible folk rock metal album that really expands on the sound of the band. It really gives them a facelift, if you will. And I know a lot of these things are cliches to say that this album is more mature, that the band rediscover themselves or rediscover their sound. All of these things is normally what you get from an album review from a band that's been around for as long as these guys have been, and it's releasing their 9th album. Having said all of that, in this case I really feel like it is true. They kept their core sound intact, their folkiness, the fun approach, the way they create music and lyrics. All of that is still there. You still have the core DNA of the band absolutely unaltered. What they did was they added on top of it, they added layers to that sound, so they expanded upon it, they created a more robust, a more dynamic, a more layered album all around. And in my opinion, it really shows a different side of the band. It really shows a more creative, more mature, more robust sound and side that this band really has to offer with this album and perhaps with future releases. When you go deeper into the album, I really feel like there are 3 main driving elements behind everything that happens within the record, and that is structure, sound, and vocals. As far as structure is concerned, I love the playability on this record. It has such a great motion from the first song to the last song. It doesn't have peaks and valleys, it's not a roller coaster ride of an album, but they did a wonderful job alternating styles and sounds in order to create speed bumps along the way to keep you engaged with the album, and also changing the direction of the song so you don't get 2 or 3 songs that sound exactly the same together, which would perhaps create a little bit of a monotony for the record, and it's not the case with this album. So they did a wonderful job alternating styles, alternating approaches, create those speed bumps along the way, keeping you engaged with the record and keeping you there all the way through all 11 songs. Love the playability, love the structure that it has. As far as sound is concerned, obviously there's a huge folk presence on this album. That's nothing new for the band, and it's definitely not going to be anything new on this album. I love the sound that it has. I love the dynamic mechanisms that it offers to the overall feel of the tracks, and it really adds a different element to the way some of those new additions come in, because you have influences from bands like Iron Maiden, Testament, Glory Hammer, Ghost. All of these bands, you could feel in certain songs a little bit of their influence into how this album was put together as far as the sound is concerned. And then you have all of that on top, the insertion of that folk element that's really one of the key driving forces behind Feuerschwanz's sound in previous records all the way up to this point. So I like how those elements interacted with each other. I like how they combined with each other. I really didn't feel like they were colliding. I didn't feel like one was pushing the other one away. I just felt like they perfectly merged on every single song in order to create that more layer, that more robust sound that this album really has to offer, a more mature approach, if you will. As far as vocals are concerned, magnificent. I love the vocals, I love the backing vocals, and I love how they use the choirs on this album, really bringing a sense of an anthem, of a hymn into a lot of the tracks on this record. I love that approach. I love how it sounds. I love how it was recorded, and I love how it was used. In my opinion, they used it at the right spots, at the right amount of times, not really overusing a lot of backing vocals or choirs, but really understanding the internal dynamics of the song, the lyrics of the songs, what are these tracks calling for, and then using them in that specific moment in order to enhance the overall atmosphere that those tracks have, so that you can get a much clearer picture of what the song is about and what they're singing about. Almost if you don't, I almost felt that even though I don't speak German, in a lot of the songs I could get an idea what the track was about because of the way the vocals were put together. The conjunction of the main vocals with backing vocals and choirs, the way all of that came together, it really painted a vivid picture. It really helped me understand the record better, even though, like I said, I don't speak German and I don't understand the lyrics themselves. Now, as far as the second CD is concerned, the covers album with the 7 songs, I was blown away by how eclectic the choice of songs was. I mean, you're going to get anything from Powerwolf and Sabaton to Ed Sheeran. So it's not like they just went with metal bands, picked 7 metal tracks, and they did their own version of those tracks. No, they really went outside the box. They picked from a wide variety of music genres in order to create these 7 covers. So that was the first thing that surprised me. The second aspect of this covers album that really impressed me, if you will, is how they were able to keep the DNA of the band intact and just add what that song represents as far as the original track is concerned. So they did a perfect merger of who they are as a band with the song that they were performing. So when you listen to one of those tracks, you really feel almost like it's a brand new song made by this band for this record. So I think a lot of people who are not familiar with some of these tracks will perhaps feel like this is one of their new songs and not necessarily see or understand that this is actually a cover. So that is something that speaks volumes to the quality of their work on putting these covers together. They just didn't go and say, okay, we're going to play this song like the original is. No. This is who we are as a band. This is how we approach creating music. But let's bring a song that's already made, that's already put together, bring it in, and let's melt that song into our DNA and create a whole brand new track out of it. That's exactly what you're going to get out of this covers album. Overall, this deluxe edition is very complete, it's very diverse, incredibly well produced. This album really showcases the talent of the band and how much growth they've had over the years. This is perhaps one of those albums that really showcases where they started and where they are now, and perhaps the bright future that they have ahead. I absolutely love this record. I love the deluxe edition. I love the cover songs, but the original material is just outstanding. Now, as far as tracks are concerned, I want to start off with Shieldmaid. This is a pure anthem track. The choir vocals really makes the song feel like an anthem, and I love that vibe that it has, that atmosphere that it has. The first verses are very stripped down. They really come at you almost from below. It feels like it's gradually moving up. It feels like it's gradually gaining momentum as it reaches the chorus. The chorus really brings that folky anthem vibe to life from a vocal perspective, but also from a musical perspective, and it really gains volume, it gains presence, it becomes the heartbeat of this song. Moving from the darkness into the light is really the best way to describe that first part of the song. Once you go after that chorus, the song becomes a lot brighter, it becomes a lot more dynamic, it becomes a lot more fluid. It's not as dark, it's just more vibrant, if you will, and it continues to be that way as the song progresses all the way through. Once again, the choirs are phenomenal. They don't use them just in the chorus, they use them outside of the chorus, but it just brings life, it just brings energy into how the song is put together. And then definitely the folk elements really bring this beer drinking, preparing to go to battle style vibe into the track. A very powerful melodic and folky song that I fell in love with the first moment I listened to it. Next, Lords of Powermet. Heavy opening riff, and I thought at the beginning of this song that riff was only going to stay there for the opening and then would dissipate and the song would become a lot more folky, if you will. But no, this is a song that has a huge thrash metal influence into how that guitar riff sounds and how that opening of the track starts, and then it keeps that influence all the way through the rest of the track. I really like that aspect. I really like the heaviness that this song has. Definitely one of the heavier songs on the album. It has a little bit of this stop and go feel, specifically in the first half of the track. It becomes a lot more dynamic in the second half. The chorus really gives the song a different vibe. In the verses, you have more of this thrash metal, pushing forward, pedal to the metal style approach. In the chorus, you have more of a power metal feel in the way the melody comes together, but also how the vocals attach themselves to that melody and really jump into the forefront. The solos on the track are phenomenal, also reminiscent a little bit of a thrash metal track, so they included solos that really push the song. So the track is really pushing itself forward with how fast the riffs are, but then once you get to the solo, it doesn't slow down, it just continues to push forward. It has great momentum, a song that has just great execution, great structure, great dynamics, and I just love the way it's put together and the heaviness that it has. Now, from the covers album, I decided to pick one song to mention, and that is Sabaton's Gott mit uns. The cover that they did of Sabaton is absolutely magnificent. I'm going to get a lot of hate for what I'm going to say. I like this one better than the original. I know, I'm going to get tons of hate for saying this, but it is what it is. I love the fact that they added so much folkiness to the original, creating their own song out of Sabaton's track. Absolutely magnificent song. You still have the Sabaton core. It's still Gott mit uns. That song is still there, but the way they incorporated that song into their own sound, adding the folk elements, the style and vocals, the vocal approach, the backing vocals, all of those things coming in, created such an explosive track, such a magnificent track, that in my opinion, it really has more of an organic, authentic feel to it. It just has a different approach, and one that I connected better with, and one, like I said, that I prefer over the original, even though I know I'm going to get tons of hate for saying that. But hey, it is what it is. This is my favorite cover of all the covers they have on that second CD. I just absolutely love what they did with this track. I love how they created, how they merged it, how they molded into almost a brand new song. This is it, guys. This is Feuerschwanz with Das Elfte Gebot Deluxe Edition. Once again, out June 26 on Napalm Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.